Pulling together. Growing up on a farm in rural Pennsylvania, we understood pulling together. It took my dad and my uncles pulling together to care for the cows and the horses, as well as plant and harvest the crops to feed the animals. And I've always been struck by the meaning of the farm's name and its logo. The farm was called Zorah, which means Eastern Light or Dawn's Light. And as a Christian, dawn is the sign of the risen Christ. And the symbol or logo on the farm sign and stationery was a bow yoke. Traditionally used for 2 oxen or donkeys, the frame of a bow yoke would rest across the animal's shoulders, while a wooden U-shape would fasten around their necks. The bow yoke was designed so the animals would move and pull together. Pulling together makes it possible for a weaker animal to support the efforts of a stronger one, and vice versa. Each one helping shoulder the weight of a cart or a plow to the best of their ability, so neither would have to shoulder the burden alone, making the work easier. It seems fitting as today we hear Jesus say, "Take my yoke upon you, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light." We are not to take on being a disciple of Christ alone. We are to work together with Christ and one another. So the call to discipleship is one that is shared, and the burden is not shouldered individually. Justin Martyr, writing in the 2nd century, said that when Jesus was working as a carpenter, one of the things he made was bow yokes. Perhaps we can imagine Jesus fashioning the wood yokes meant to join pairs of animals together. And of course, he would want to make the yoke to fit just right, so it would not rub or chafe the animals, but be a device that would truly help the animals bear their burdens, pull together, and be more efficient as a team. And we can imagine Jesus the carpenter sanding down the rough spots, fitting the yoke, checking it, making it just right for the creatures, a perfect fit. Jesus invites us to take on a yoke, made by his own labor and love, crafted perfectly for each one of us by the one who understands what it means to bear burdens, who knows each of us by name, knows our gifts and our needs, who does not want us to be wearied or weighed down. Jesus offers himself as our partner in the bow yoke, the one who will help us bear, pull, carry, whatever we are called to do. In Christ's invitation to take my own yoke upon us, we learn from me. It is an invitation to come together, to share and shoulder the burden, making it possible to bear even the heaviest of burdens. As a community, we bear the life of Good Shepherd together in everything we do, whether we offer our time in ministry or through the gifts we offer to God. In Africa, we went to a Maasai village to bless the boma, where the animals are kept overnight. The animals are the Maasai's wealth. The chief gave a sacrificial gift to the bishop in thanksgiving to God for the blessing of the healthy herd. He brought a strong, handsome, healthy male goat, truly a prime specimen and prize goat, and gave it as a gift. And I thought, this is truly a sacrificial gift of thanksgiving. That animal is a treasure. And I wondered, do we do the same? Do we give our very best to God? In what we do, in how we do it, and do we offer the first fruits of our life and labors? Or do we offer to God the leftovers? Whatever remains after we've done everything that we want to do. Ultimately, we need to commit to pulling together, sharing the labor and offering our very best to God to strengthen and build our church and community. As the world keeps changing, are we willing to pull together, to keep changing with it? Are we going to make the changes and move forward? Or are we going to hold on to what's comfortable? The idea of pulling together can also become a stumbling block. Not unlike the crowd Jesus is addressing in Matthew, we sometimes struggle to understand the true essence of others. We can miss the mark as we focus on that outward appearance and behavior. Being like obstinate children who will not join in one another's games. We played the flute for you, and you would not dance. We wailed, and you would not mourn. John the Baptist is criticized as too austere with his wild appearance and steady diet of locusts and honey, while Jesus is considered a glutton and drunkard who shares table fellowship with outcasts and tax collectors. We humans are so good at making snap judgments, quick to dismiss others based on some personal criteria of what a Christian or even a good person should be, or how they should act. I've said it before, people are like presents. To discover the gift within, we must open the package. When it comes to Jesus, we are continuously challenged to go beyond the external to discover the gift of another. We are often tripped up by our own selves, and sometimes Paul's message to the Romans may resonate way too clearly. I do not understand my own actions, for I do not do what I want, but I do the very thing I hate. Sometimes there's this war going on inside of us as we strive to discover and learn to do what is right in the eyes of God. The ones who get it, who grasp the truth of who and what Jesus is about, are the little ones in Matthew's gospel, the weak and defenseless, the simple ones, not capable of making use of reason. They are naturally vulnerable. They have no power or prestige. They don't carry a credit card, have a bank account or insurance, or hold important positions in community. They are vulnerable and reliant upon others for their most basic needs. Perhaps in our culture, this is why we struggle to freely receive. We want to be the giver because when we are not, then we are not vulnerable and we remain in control. And if you've ever watched a child in relationship with his or her mother or father, the child treats everything in life as gift, not as something due them. They're open and receptive. They're quick to smile or cry, laugh, or show frustration. And their responses are pure, in the moment. They then are released as quickly as the responses came. The little ones Jesus speaks of somehow comprehend knowing and wisdom in the grace-filled, peaceful path of his life. And Jesus was that peaceful, peace-filled presence as he walked this earth, healing and teaching and preaching. And even though he was continuously challenged by the authorities and surrounded by crowds, he generously met the ever-present needs. He never hurried. He never hesitated to be fully present with the souls in need of his attention and care. He listened more than he spoke, and his words were often simple invitation. Jesus drew his strength through continually praying to God, seeking God's will. When the demands took their toll, he removed himself to quiet places to pray. Through spending time yoked with Christ in prayer and relationship, we may discover ourselves living with a renewed sense of freedom and peace, which brings lightness and light to the burdens of this life, turning them into blessings which spill over into the world through our lives. That is a precious gift. Let us pull together, yoked with Christ and grounded in prayer and worship, to strengthen Good Shepherd and bring about God's kingdom on earth.